After 50, your brain does not decline. It reorganizes. Most people misunderstand this because the changes are quiet, not dramatic, and because no one explains what is really happening. What feels like loss is often transformation. This video will explain what actually changes inside your brain after 50, why it happens, and why many people mistake this shift for decline. If you are over 50, this may completely change how you see your mind. Welcome to Smart Brain Senior. Subscribe now, because understanding your brain is the first step to protecting it. The human brain is not designed to peak once and then fall apart. That idea comes from outdated models, based on speed, reaction time, and raw memory recall. But the brain does not value speed forever. After midlife, it begins optimizing for something else: efficiency, stability, meaning. This is not philosophy. This is neuroscience. Around the age of 45 to 55, the brain begins a process called selective reorganization. Connections that are rarely used weaken. Connections tied to experience strengthen. This is not damage, it is prioritization. The brain starts asking a different question. Not, how fast can I respond? But, what matters? One of the first changes people notice after 50 is memory feeling different. Names take longer. Details feel fuzzy. Multitasking becomes harder. Most people panic here. They assume something is wrong. But neuroscience shows something surprising. The brain is not forgetting more, it is filtering more. Younger brains store everything. Older brains store what is meaningful. This is why emotional memories remain strong, while random details fade. The hippocampus changes its behavior. It becomes more selective. This protects the brain from overload, because overload is one of the biggest threats after midlife. Another major change happens in the prefrontal cortex. This is the area responsible for decision-making, impulse control, emotional regulation. After 50, this region becomes less reactive. Stress does not trigger the same chaotic response as it did earlier in life. This is why many people notice. They care less about noise, drama, and urgency. This is not apathy. This is neurological maturity. The brain is conserving energy and redirecting it toward long-term stability. Speed declines, but integration increases. This is one of the most misunderstood shifts. Reaction time may slow, but pattern recognition improves. Older brains see connections. Younger brains miss. This is why experience feels like intuition. It is not magic. It is accumulated neural integration. Decades of patterns stored, compressed, and ready to be accessed. There is also a structural change. Gray matter volume decreases slightly, but white matter efficiency often improves. White matter controls communication between regions. This means the brain may have fewer raw connections, but better coordination. Think fewer roads, but better highways. One more critical shift happens after 50. The brain becomes more sensitive to stress. Cortisol has a stronger impact. Sleep disruption affects memory more. Chronic anxiety accelerates cognitive aging. This is why lifestyle matters more now than ever. The brain is still plastic, but it requires safety. Safety is the signal for repair. This is where most people go wrong. They treat the aging brain like a younger one. More stimulation, more multitasking, more pressure. But the mature brain thrives on clarity, consistency, purpose. It needs fewer inputs, not more. When this need is ignored, brain fog appears, not because the brain is weak, but because it is overwhelmed. Here is the most important truth. Your brain after 50 is not broken. It is selective. It does not want chaos. It wants meaning. It does not chase speed. It values accuracy. When you align with this shift, mental clarity returns. When you fight it, cognitive stress increases. Smart Brain Senior exists to help you align, not to scare you. Your brain is still changing, still adapting, still capable, but it operates under new rules. And once you understand those rules, you stop fearing age and start using it. As people move deeper into their 50s, another subtle shift takes place. The brain begins to favor depth over breadth. You may notice you no longer enjoy skimming information. Surface-level conversations feel draining. Noise feels heavier. This is not loss of curiosity. It is cognitive refinement. The brain is narrowing its focus so it can think more deeply, with fewer distractions. Neuroscience shows that mature brains allocate resources differently. Instead of spreading attention thin, they concentrate energy where it matters. This is why older adults often excel at judgment, perspective, and complex problem solving, even if recall feels slower. There is also a change in how the brain experiences emotion earlier in life. Emotions rise quickly and fall sharply. After 50, emotional responses become smoother. The amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, becomes less reactive. This reduces emotional volatility. The result is greater emotional intelligence. You pause before reacting. You reflect before responding. This is not personality, it is neural regulation. The brain has learned, through decades of experience, that not every signal deserves urgency. This emotional stability protects cognition. High emotional reactivity consumes glucose, increases cortisol, and disrupts memory formation. A calmer emotional baseline preserves cognitive energy. This is one reason why many people actually think more clearly after 50 when stress is managed. Another misunderstood change is motivation. Many people say, "I feel less driven than before." But the brain is not losing motivation. It is changing what it responds to. External rewards lose power. Internal meaning gains strength. The dopamine system becomes less excited by novelty and more responsive to purpose. This is why shallow goals feel empty, while meaningful work feels energizing. The brain is asking a different question. Not, what excites me, but what matters. This is also why learning feels different. New information sticks best when it connects to lived experience. Abstract facts are harder to retain, but applied knowledge is stronger than ever. The mature brain learns through relevance. When learning feels difficult, it is often because the material lacks context, not because the brain lacks ability. One of the most important changes is how the brain responds to rest. After 50, recovery becomes essential. Sleep is no longer optional, it is neurological maintenance. During deep sleep, the brain clears waste, repairs synapses, and consolidates memory. Without proper sleep, the mature brain shows symptoms that mimic decline: brain fog, forgetfulness, emotional imbalance. But these are often reversible. This is where understanding becomes power. When you stop judging your brain by younger standards, you stop fighting it. When you work with its new priorities, clarity increases. You give it rhythm, consistency, purpose, and the brain responds quietly, reliably, intelligently. This is the truth most people never hear. Your brain after 50 is not weaker, it is wiser. But wisdom requires alignment, and once alignment happens, mental strength does not fade, it stabilizes. There is one more shift that becomes noticeable with time. The brain begins to protect itself from overload. Earlier in life, the mind tolerates constant stimulation, multiple tasks, endless input. After 50, that tolerance disappears. This is not fragility, it is intelligence. The brain has learned, through repetition and consequence, that excess stimulation creates damage, so it begins to filter aggressively. This is why crowded environments feel exhausting, why constant notifications feel intrusive, why silence feels restorative. The brain is conserving its most valuable resource: attention. Attention after midlife becomes precise. You may focus on fewer things, but focus more deeply. Neuroscience calls this attentional narrowing. But the word narrowing is misleading. It is refinement. Instead of scattering energy, the brain channels it. This improves accuracy, judgment, and insight. It is also why many people feel they think slower but see clearer. Another critical change happens in self-perception. The brain slowly detaches identity from performance. Earlier, worth was tied to speed, productivity, achievement. After 50, the brain no longer sustains that model. It begins separating who you are from what you do. This reduces internal pressure. Reduced pressure protects cognition. Chronic self-evaluation is mentally expensive. When it fades, cognitive resources return. This is why confidence often feels quieter, but stronger. You no longer need constant validation, because the brain no longer seeks it. This is not emotional withdrawal. It is neurological independence. There is also a shift in how memory serves you. You may forget trivial details, but retain lessons. The brain prioritizes learning over recording. It remembers outcomes, patterns, and meaning. This is why older minds often give better advice. They are not recalling facts, they are accessing frameworks. Frameworks are harder to erase. One of the most important realizations is that fear accelerates decline. Fear tells the brain that the environment is unsafe. An unsafe environment shuts down repair. This is why negative beliefs about aging become self-fulfilling. When the brain expects decline, it adapts accordingly. When it expects usefulness, it preserves function. This is where purpose becomes critical. Purpose sends a signal of necessity. A brain that feels needed maintains itself. A brain that feels irrelevant begins disengaging. This is not philosophy, it is biology. This is why staying mentally engaged does not mean constant stimulation. It means meaningful contribution, teaching, creating, mentoring, understanding. These activities tell the brain you are still required, and the brain responds by staying organized. What many call aging is often misalignment. They apply young brain rules to a mature brain system and then blame the brain when it resists. But when you align, everything changes. Your brain after 50 is not asking for more. It is asking for better rhythm, better meaning, better care, and when it receives those, it does not decline. It stabilizes, integrates, and strengthens. This is the quiet science of the aging brain, not collapse, not loss, but transformation. As this transformation continues, another subtle advantage appears. The brain becomes better at emotional separation. Earlier in life, thoughts and emotions are tightly linked. A stressful thought immediately triggers anxiety. A negative memory brings physical tension. After 50, that coupling weakens. This gives the mind more space. You can notice a thought without becoming it. This distance protects cognitive health. Neuroscience links this ability to improved regulation between the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system. In simple terms, the thinking brain gains more control. This shift improves decision-making. You pause, you evaluate, you respond, instead of reacting. Reaction consumes energy. Response preserves it. This is why mature minds often make fewer but better decisions. Another important change is how the brain handles uncertainty. Younger brains crave certainty, answers, control. Older brains tolerate ambiguity. This reduces stress, and stress reduction protects memory. The brain no longer wastes energy trying to resolve every unknown. It learns to coexist with it. This tolerance improves creativity. Creativity after 50 is not explosive. It is integrative. Ideas connect across time, across disciplines, across experience. This is why insight often deepens, even when speed slows. There is also a biological shift in how reward is processed. The dopamine system becomes less reactive to novelty alone, but more responsive to fulfillment. This explains why shallow pleasures lose appeal and why depth becomes satisfying. The brain is not bored, it is selective. This selectivity protects mental health. Constant novelty seeking is exhausting after midlife. When the brain no longer chases it, anxiety decreases, clarity increases. Many people misinterpret this as loss of ambition, but ambition has simply changed shape. It is no longer about accumulation, it is about contribution. The brain aligns motivation with long-term meaning. Another key advantage emerges here: resilience. Older brains recover better from emotional setbacks. They may feel deeply, but they rebound faster. This is emotional resilience, and it is neurologically supported. The brain has practiced recovery thousands of times. This resilience is protective. It reduces the long-term impact of stress hormones. It keeps memory circuits intact. This is why many people feel mentally steadier after 50, not because life is easier, but because the brain has adapted. Understanding this matters. When you stop fearing these changes, you stop fighting them. When you stop fighting, the brain stabilizes, and stability is the foundation of long-term cognitive strength. The brain does not peak and collapse, it evolves, and evolution favors what survives. Calm, meaning, integration. This is not decline, it is design. As we conclude our deep dive into how your brain changes after 50, it's important to remember that these changes are not a sign of weakness, but an opportunity. Your brain is not slowing down. It is reorganizing, optimizing, and learning to work smarter with the experiences you've accumulated over decades. One of the most critical aspects is emotional intelligence. After 50, the mature brain can read emotions more accurately, regulate reactions better, and understand complex social cues. This isn't just theory. Studies show that older adults often outperform younger ones in tasks requiring empathy and social reasoning. Cognitive flexibility is another key point. The connections in your brain are still rewiring themselves, allowing you to solve problems differently, anticipate outcomes more effectively, and make decisions with greater clarity. This adaptability is your hidden superpower, and nurturing it through mental exercises, learning new skills, and staying socially active will keep it sharp. Nutrition and lifestyle remain vital. Omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants from colorful fruits and vegetables, regular physical activity, and quality sleep all contribute to stronger memory circuits and improved focus. Chronic stress, however, can impair these processes, so daily relaxation techniques and mindfulness practices are essential. Lastly, purpose and engagement are what truly sustain your brain's health. People with meaningful goals, hobbies, and social connections show slower cognitive decline, better memory retention, and even structural brain benefits in neuroimaging studies. Your brain thrives on challenge and relevance, not just repetition. By combining mental exercises, proper nutrition, social engagement, and stress management, you are effectively hacking your brain's natural adaptation system. Age does not define your cognitive potential. Your daily choices do. So embrace the changes, leverage your strengths, and remember, your brain after 50 is capable of remarkable growth and resilience. Thank you for watching. Now that you understand how your brain changes after 50, it's time to take control and strengthen it every day. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to Smart Brain Senior for more tips, exercises, and insights to keep your mind sharp, focused, and energized for years to come. Remember, your brain is still growing, adapting, and capable of amazing things, and this is the best time to unlock its full potential. Stay curious, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next video.